Hello guys, welcome back, and today we're going to be talking about Fate Remnant Collide. Also, Jesus Christ, what happened to poor Niji Sanji? Anyway, let's begin, shall we? So, we currently see Rex as he's being carried by Penthesilea, aka the new Berserker servant, being that of Berserker of Ebony, as while he was being carried towards the headmaster's office. The few students would already be asleep, thankfully, so nobody would know that Izuku is being carried by her, and not only that, right beside him was that of Shangyu, aka the Centaur Ashura machine thing. Let me just explain this. That version of Shangyu is not from human history, or at least the one from, Fake Grand Order's, human history. That is the Lost Belt version, which I honestly quite prefer. But I do want to see the original version of Shangyu, not this not really cyborg, but more like this android thing, almost over to Penny. So yeah, let's continue on, shall we, ladies and gents? So after they finally arrive at the headmaster's office, everybody would look over and would see Rex, as some of them would be, not some of them, I meant all of them would say, "Rex, you're okay," they would say, as one of them, specifically that of Ironwood, would say, "So I'm guessing those are the new servants that you summoned. Though, I want to say this. What the hell happened?" He would say, as Rex would just look at him, as the two servants right beside him would ask, or more specifically Penthesilea would raise up her, I guess you could say her gauntlet-like claws and say, "Dare and try and disrespect our master," and as Rex would say, "Hold on, Penthesilea, stand down. He's my mentor, or at least one of my mentors." As she would say, "But master, as before he can say but before she can say anything else, Rex would just look at her with a stern look, as she would say, "Fine, master." As she would basically, release her, wait for a second, my neck would release her anger. Doing so, Rex would look towards our boy Ironwood, as Ironwood would say, "Alright, mind telling me what the hell happened there?" As Rex would say this, "Well, you see, as after explaining what happened, and also a bit of clarification and finding out why this servant was summoned," one of them would say, "So you're saying that girl, whoever she is, almost tried to," and I quote, not really and I quote, but more like, basically what they were told by the rest of the other students, aka, some of Team RWBY, specifically just RWBY herself, and the rest of Team Wrath, as after hearing that, Iron would say, "Well, this is definitely concerning," as Rex would say, "Yeah, no kidding. Though, I wanted to think that, why, first of all, I'm still concerned about how they're able to summon servants in the first place, considering that it's my semblance. But how?" he would say, as one of them would say, specifically that of, as Osmond would say, "I'm not sure, but it seems that your semblance not only works for you, but for others. Though it's quite the concerning part. For now, Izuku," as he would look towards, not Izuku, I meant Rex, as he would look towards back at Rex, as he would say, "You'll be staying with Good Witch for now, and get some rest. After all, next week is going to be the start of your first mission assignment with the rest of your team. And as for the rest of you, have a few days off. You need to rest as well, considering what happened earlier. You also meet the train as well. And as for you, Ruby, or Miss Rose," he would say, as he would look towards Ruby, as he would say, Take care of yourself, and please train some more. I wouldn't want you to get the. I wouldn't want you to get any more. How do I say it? Left behind in a way. After saying that, all of them would bow to the headmaster to say, "Thank you, headmaster," and so they would start leaving. As Rex is being, being helped with the help, being held by, by Penthelia because, he's still pretty much hurt from the fight. After this, Ironwood would look towards Osman as he would say, "So, this is definitely quite the conundrum." As one of them, specifically that of Goodwitch, would say, "Yes, I certainly do agree, headmaster. Though, why, but how? How is somebody able to use a servant? I thought it was my son's semblance." As one of them would say this, being that of Ironwood. "Well, I do have a theory. After learning about you and this magic stuff, maybe perhaps magic is coming back to Remnant." As hearing this, Osmond would just look at him with a shocked look as he would say, "Are you really sure? If it really was magic, then I would have sensed it earlier, almost similar to that of Salem." As he would say, "Perhaps, but for now, try and take care of the boy. I also need to help him train as well, considering what is going to happen soon. He'll be a pivotal part, after all, in defeating that witch." And so, we move to a different perspective. We would currently see a somewhat, let's just say, angry Cinder. Not really angry, but more like, well, let's just say it's more somewhat angry, I guess. As you would say, "Thank God I'm safe." But as she would look towards her servant, being that of, aka that of Berserker, as she would say, "So, you're a servant, as you call it?" As she would say, "Yes, my child," she would say, as she would hold her up by the chin, as she would say, "You need to be cleaned up soon." As saying this, she would basically pick her up, well, piggyback riding style, as, Cinder would say, "Hey, get off me! Don't do that!" She would say, "You're hurt. Please, just let me do this. After all, I am a servant, and your mother." As she would say, "Mother?" As she would say, "Yes. Now, please be careful." As saying this, she would summon some sort of horse. More specifically, a horse with two horns. Imagine something like, what is that called? What is the name of that Elden Ring? The horse from Elden Ring? The one that you're able to summon? Yeah, Torrent, yeah. So imagine something like that, but except Japanese inspired. She would place place her down on the horse, as she would basically ride on the horse with her. Doing so, they would start riding towards Beacon. As Cinder would say, wait, if we do that, we're gonna get spotted." And as she would say, "Don't worry, when we're about to reach the perimeter, I'm going to take on a spirit form, so you don't need to worry about it. Also, my child, as soon as the other servants are arrived, I have to say this. Be prepared for the Holy Grail War." As she would ask, "Wait, what the heck is the Holy Grail War? Please explain." As before she can, they would finally arrive, as she would disappear. As Cinder would basically fall to the ground, as she would say, "Ow!" As she would hit her, butt on the ground, as she would get up, dusting herself, as she would say, "What is this? This is already confusing enough. Especially since that guy, Rex Goodwitch. Either way, I should probably get ready. After all, as soon as the invasion of Beacon, This is certainly gonna cause them a lot of trouble. But first, I need to contact them first. So, we would go to another perspective again. We would go to the perspective of some of the not soldats. I mean, no, that's German. I meant the Aprishniki, or at least some Aprishniki back at Mount Glen. The Aprishniki are currently taking care of some of the leftover White Fangs that are trying to, contact some of the actual White Fang organization, as they're basically tearing them apart limb from limb. Thank God that some of that the two servants that were with them at the time, being that of Assassin of Ebony and, Crimson, are gone. Though it's no, but it's still not a problem for the Aprishniki themselves. Some of them were riding on black horses, and some of them wielding crossbows, axes, and some whips. And if you're wondering, I'm going to say this. If you're wondering what type of a servant, if they're what class would they be if they're in Fate Grand Order? Well, the Aprishniki with crossbows are obviously archers. Yes. Axes. Instead of being, I think it was assassin, I'm gonna say berserker. Some of them with whips would be assassins instead. And the regular foot soldiers that don't really use axes or stuff like that, I'm just gonna say this. They're probably just blank enemies, I guess you could say. And some of them on horseback, yeah, they're riders easily. So, while they're basically going through the streets of Mount Glen, they would say, "It seems that they're already gone, brother." As saying that, one of the, other Aprishniki that were on the train, or at least what's left of it, because they've sort of scrapped it, as they would say, "Yes, it seems so, brother." Though, as he would look over and would see a few White Fang that are basically tied up and screaming for help, and some of them having some of their their arms either scratched and bitten on, and some of them either losing limbs. I wonder why. So, as some of them are trying to scream for help at this point, and some of them cowering in the corner, still tied up, by the way, as they would say, "So, what we should do with them? The rest of them, at least." As the one with with a somewhat leader-like role, I guess you could say, let's just say to differentiate the leader, let's just say he has a red emblem on his back. As you'd say, "Duh, let's just get rid of them. Bring him to the authorities," as you say. As you'd say, "Yes, boss. Though, should we change our forms considering what we look like?" As he would say, "Da." Or at least, I think, that's not German. I meant the Russian word for yes. As doing so, he would say, "Yes, now, let's go." As they would grab the rest of the White Fang as they would leave. So, while doing so, a certain thing would be left behind. And that thing was a single piece of dust. As one of the Aprishniki would say, "Is this what they call as dust? It certainly looks like a ruby. Maybe I should keep this." Doing so, the last one would leave. Leaving Mount Glen pretty much not even filled with Grim at this point. It seems to be almost empty, like a ghost town. And so, we would go back to another perspective, in this case, a new one. As we would go to some sort of golden light, as it would say, "So, the Holy Grail War is about to begin. Only one servant has been summoned by the dark side for now. Guess we'll have to wait until the Holy Grail is finished manifesting. And all of the servants, dark and light, destruction and creation have arrived. And so this is where we're gonna be ending off this episode. So yeah, so bye bye.